Coach's Corner. We have to, Aaron, you and I have to come up, maybe Ryan too, with a new name. I never really liked Coach's Corner. We need a new snappy name. Coaches in the House, something like that.
No.
What?
No.
Mayor.
Who let the coaches out?
Who let the coaches out? What would you like, Mayor? What do you like?
You know what? I'm not here. I'm just here to say no. I'm not here to offer any
That's
other
the
other
mayor
ideas.
of the city of Santa Clarita, ladies and gentlemen.
Is that what you do with the city?
Sacramento, I voted no a lot. Yeah,
Cameron Smyth. That's the mayor, ladies and gentlemen, right there. That's the mayor of City of Santa Clarita, one of the nicest, cleanest, friendliest cities in the state of California. It's a great city to do business in, and he's also a good guy, too. So on Tuesday nights, if you want to come down to City Hall, you can talk about anything.
Not every Tuesday night.
Oh, not every Tuesday night?
The second and fourth Tuesday.
What happens to the other Tuesday nights?
They're either planning commissions or park commissions meeting, but the council meets the second and fourth Tuesday.
Oh, okay. I got nothing to complain about.
See, that's great. So you wouldn't know.
That's true.
I like it.
That's very true. All right, let me ask you a question. You're a father of a young athlete. So you have why do I have a problem pronouncing
It's Lonzo. Lonzo Ball, and his dad is LaVar.
LaVar
Ball.
So I know you, and I have a son. Do you have a son yet, Ryan?
No, unfortunately.
He probably has a dad, though.
So I get what the dad's trying to do. And there was an article written the other day about LaVar, and so the article, just a short point, Lakers need LaVar and what's his name?
Lonzo. Yeah.
So the Lakers are a legacy team. I grew up with Chick Hearn. I used to go to bed. If I didn't go to bed listening to Vince Scully and the Dodgers, I went to bed listening to Chick Hearn.
Sure.
And those days are over. The Lakers may be over as a legacy team. What do you think, guys?
I don't think they're over. I think that, now that they've got a new GM in, and Mitch Kupchak has been kind of not vetoed out or sent out, but now that Mitch Kupchak's gone, I think they got some new management. I think they got Magic Johnson, who's going to make a great impact on the team. I don't think they're over. I think that they just need some time to rebuild, and they got rid of a lot of their draft picks back when they were, the Pau Gasols, and they were the Dwight Howards, acquiring Steve Nash's, those kind of trades.
Complete misses. I mean, complete.
I know, complete.
Yeah.
And they just sent out a lot of their draft picks, and that has hurt them now. And I think that they just need some time to get those draft picks back, rebuild through the draft. I mean, LA is still a city to go to. I mean, LA is a great city.
Oh, I get it.
And you got guys like Paul George, who grew up in LA, who's possibly going to come back. I mean, that's a big name player that they can build around.
As a father, Mayor Cameron Smyth, would you ever behave that way? Would you ever? To me, this is an embarrassment to a son.
Yeah, it's not certainly not the way that I comport myself. I've got my, like any dad, I've got my own.
Hold your son.
My own issues. He is 13.
Oh, perfect.
So, we definitely have gone through it a little bit, and but I agree. I think it's turning into kind of a sideshow, taking the attention away from your son, who is unquestionably a elite athlete and doesn't need this. And it seems he's a little bit living through his kids, talking about doing a reality show, all of that stuff that I just think it's noise, trying to make money for themselves, and I think it hurts the kids ultimately.
What's your son's name?
My son is Gavin.
How about you and Gavin doing a reality show?
I would like to get reelected, so I think.
So where's he going to high school? He's in junior high school now.
Yeah, so he'll end up. I live here in New Hall, and so right now all three of my kids are slated to go to Hart there in the Hart district. So
got it. Ryan, what's your take on it?
I think that this whole show that LaVar is putting on is just one. It's one big. He's trying to get business. He's trying to make business through his big baller brand company, which they've released a new shoe. They've released slide-ons. I mean, the shoes are $600, Coach. $600 for a shoe.
Ridiculous.
That's ridiculous when you've got Nike selling Kobe's for $120. This
or
is
LeBron's or the
that's what I'm saying.
Or $195.
LeBron. I mean, not many Nike shoes are above $200, and this is all just a big marketing plan by him. And I think that at the end of the day, it has had some effect on Lonzo's appearance to the public. I don't think it's going to affect his draft stock necessarily. And I think that it's not going to come into play for guys like the Lakers, because the Lakers know how to handle big egos. I mean, you look back, Kobe, Shaq.
Yeah.
I mean, all the way back
Here's
to
how
Wilt
you handle
Chamberlain.
him. You give him a $40 million ridiculous contract at the end of his career. That's how you handle him.
Yeah, that helps too, Coach. But I mean, they know how to handle their guys, and I think that it's not going to come down to his dad on whether he gets drafted by the Lakers.
Do you think maybe they're just laughing all the way? That the dad, like
Yeah.
they're all in on it, and they're just like,
Yeah.
they're just laughing every day, all the way to the bank, so to speak. That,
Yeah.
that this is, very, that just loves that people are talking, and they're just having a good laugh at everyone's expense. The one thing that bothers me is you hear the pundits saying, why doesn't Lonzo tell his dad? I mean, he's still 18, 19 years old. I mean, I was 40 years old, and I wasn't going to tell my dad to shut up and get it. You know what I mean? Like, you don't do that. So I always find that just laughable that, he should be telling his dad. If you've been brought up, with with obviously a very strong, father presence, and you're 19 years old, you're not going to sit there and tell your dad to back off and get out. I mean, it's just, it's absurd that people are putting some of that on him, when he's still just a kid.
So parenting athletes. So you're the father of a 13-year-old soccer player who looks like he's got a tremendous desire and passion. How do you now? Is he going to be a freshman at Hart? Is that it?
He's going into 8th grade.
8th grade. So he's in a traveling team.
Yep.
So he's a pretty good soccer player. So how do you manage this process? How do you manage him not getting burned out? How do you manage not being a helicopter father? How do you manage growing his apparent? Obviously, you're a good athlete, so he's got your genes, I think, or maybe the missus. Is Mrs. a good athlete? Maybe he's got the wife's genes.
So let's, I will say actually the best athlete in our family was my mom. That's where we all got him through. Yeah, get him through grandma's genes for sure.
Okay. So here's a child, your son, who's 13, who has a real chance maybe to be a star. I guess looking at this ESPN list, the most famous athlete in the world is a soccer player. The Ronaldo, and then Niemeyer is number 6. I mean, there's like 3. Messi's number 3.
Neymar, Coach.
Neymar shows you how much.
Yeah, I know. It's the most played sport in the world. Soccer's.
I know. If I had it over to do again, I'd have my son play soccer.
That's what I'm saying.
So, Dad, what are you going to do? Are you going to get him a personal coach? Are you going to try to? How do you grow a 13-year-old who has skill?
Right. So I think if I were to give advice to any. We waited until it was his decision to go to the club soccer world, and make it that it was that he chose to do that, and not putting him in. And the other is right. You have to, and I admit that I struggle with this a little bit. Is because of the USA Soccer changed the age brackets last 2 seasons ago, so he went from being the oldest in his age group. Because he's got a November birthday, to all of a sudden being the youngest. So he had to actually skip an age bracket. And, and that's hard. At this age, particularly at 13, you have kids that look 13, and you have kids that look 18.
Oh, time out. So he's playing with 14 and 15-year-olds?
Right. So his team has.
But that's not necessarily a bad deal.
And that's, in my opinion, long term, it's the right. It's good because it's forced him to evolve his game. Like I always use the basketball analogy, right? That if the kids that could dunk in 8th grade, well, by the time they're in 12th grade, their game hasn't evolved because they were always just dunking and relying on going to the basket, whereas the other kids were developing a jump shot, developing a floor game, and now by the time they're in 12th grade and everyone can dunk, it's not a big deal. And so, we're trying with him just to stay focused on evolving his game. So once he catches up in size, then he'll have the overall skills that will go with it. Because if he was playing on the younger age group, a lot of it was just long balls where he would outrun the defense, one touch and shoot. He can't do that anymore with the bigger kids. So he has to get rid of the ball quicker, see the fields quicker, watch get the play to develop. And he's got to compete every day for playing time. And so I, like any dad, I struggle, want him to, think he should play more than he does, and want to see that development. But you got to try to keep that perspective and be in it for the long game. And we all know I grew up with that. I mean, guys that were the superstars in 8th grade, many of them didn't even play high school, varsity football by the time they got through life. Life changes, people change, so that's kind of our focus, is just kind of keeping that big picture. Don't let him get burned out, and keep the love of the game. So that when he does catch up, he's ready to go.
All right, I'm going to ask you a very sensitive question. Our show brought to you by Marty's Flooring. Over 40 years in business. You don't stay in business for 40 years if you're not doing something right. Marty's Flooring. Also, 42 years. Douglas Furniture. That's where the coach gets his furniture. Great guys over there, the Green family. And Valencia Country Club. I'm telling you, if you ever thought about joining a country club, now's the time to do it. They have a program. I'm not allowed to say it on the air, Aaron, but get your butt over there. I'm telling you, they've got a pro. You could get into golf. I'll teach you, and maybe you'll be a pro golfer.
Where is that? Valencia Country Club?
Valencia.
Valencia?
Yeah, boy, I got it. Valencia Country Club. Call Missy Carter over there. So here's the delicate question, okay? You've got a pretty good athlete here. I've always struggled with this, that the coach of your traveling team could be a jerk, could be a nice guy, could be a great teacher, but he needs to be a teacher. He needs to be somebody that can cultivate the talent in your son or your daughters. And so how do you go about managing a coach that really isn't a teacher or can't take your son or daughter to the next level? I want to hear your opinion on this, because I'm going to give you mine.
Well, what ultimately happens, in the club world, basically everyone signs a 1-year contract, so to speak. And so at the end of each year, once there's a period of time where the rosters are locked, and then that opens up. When that opens up, people, you leave, you move around. I mean, we've been on several different teams. Some of it was not our own doing. When they made the age group change, he had to leave. His coach, because he had to move up to a different division. The team he was on last year ended up falling apart with the kids just moving on to other teams. So we had to find another location, and it's hard. I mean, in the club world, coaches have, if it's a reputable club, coaches have to be licensed at certain levels, and so you want to make sure that you're getting that training. I mean, his coach last year was coaching with the men's national team and Jurgen Klinsmann, and so he's obviously played professionally in Italy, played at the highest level there, and then was coaching at the highest levels. So you're getting that that skills training, but what I try to do is for him to find a team that with kids that share his passion for the game. I mean, my son is it's 24/7. He could tell you anybody's transfer rates, what's going on in any of the big 5 soccer leagues around the world. Just like you and I did. We look at the box scores. He does that now on his phone. He just looks at the box scores of Serie A in Italy and can tell you what Lazio did against Fiorentina, like where you and I were just looking at the Angels and Dodgers game. So it's really shaped the
Exciting though that your son is got a hobby like this and a sport like this. It keeps him on the straight and narrow. Athletics, and you and I talked about this on the phone the other day. It's so important in our community, and for some reason our community does things the right way. I mean, sports in the Santa Clarita Valley are a huge part of our lives, and what a blessing to bring families together. What a blessing to have. Look at all the athletes we're sending to the pros, and I realize, a lot of them don't make the pros, but they wind up getting scholarships too, right? I mean, I don't think there's a lot of negatives here, guys.
No, and the average age, 60% of the city is 45 and under.
Wow.
And that is direct result of the large number of families that are here with young kids.
Young city.
Most of them are participating in our sports program, and it was one of the reasons why I decided to come back to City Hall, is that I felt that there was nobody on the council at the time who had young kids. My 13-year-old is my oldest. I have 2 others, and so I'm kind of living right the thick of it, of what most Santa Clarita families are doing, spending my weekends at Central Park, Heritage Park, the Aquatic Center, the sports complex, wherever it is, and kind of living the day-to-day life of most Santa Clarita families. And so I thought it was important that we had someone on the council to provide that representation, that perspective.
So your 13's your youngest?
He's my oldest.
Oh, your oldest. So I'm going to have to wait to run you for Congress because you're probably not going to go to Congress until the kids are late teenagers, darn
As
it.
long as I want to stay married, that is correct.
That's correct.
So I'm good right. I'm good right now. But it's as great as it is, we still need to do more. We need to build more park space, more gym space. More multi-use fields that can accommodate football, lacrosse, soccer.
And where does that money come from to build these sports centers? Is it tax dollars? Where does that revenue come from?
Yeah, there's a big component in our capital budget that provides that. We also try to find partnerships where we can, grants from the county or the federal government or state government, and then a lot of it comes through with unfortunately
User fees.
No, well, sure, yeah. The user fees are really more for the maintenance, but as a developer, if you're going to build a housing, component to me,
Got it.
I'm not going to support your project unless you have the infrastructure, which means parks, schools, water, retail, all of those things that go along to support homes.
All right, that's the mayor. He's going to be on my show, God willing, next Tuesday, and we're going to pull the curtains back about politics because I've been involved in politics most of my adult life, and I'm curious, why is this guy done so well? Is it because he's smart? Why
are you curious?
I'm curious. We're going to come right back on the show we call Coach's Corner on award-winning KHTS radio. You can listen on hometownstation.com. How much time do we have left? Oh, we're on the air? We're on the air. We're on the air. Aaron will give me the time. So Aaron asked a great question at the break. That's what I was asking. He asked the mayor, Cameron Smyth, would he let his son play football? I don't want him to answer yet because I want to have a maybe 3 or 4 minute discussion. But Ryan Williams is with us. Ryan Williams is with us.
Ryne.
I said Ryan. I know Ryne.
Yeah.
No, I know how to spell it.
Like
Like
the river.
Nimmer.
Yeah, like Nimmer.
You and Nimmer.
You're a center
Niedermeyer.
on the
Niedermeyer.
San Francisco State, which my other daughter went there. She got her master's degree there.
Okay.
Her
Wow.
undergraduate at Davis and got her. Anyway, when does your season start?
We start back up. Well, school starts back up in August. We'll start conditioning, September around there, and then we'll start playing beginning of November.
Do you change your diet? Give us your diet. Like when you go to camp, tell me breakfast, lunch, dinner.
I eat anything that comes in front of me. That's about that because once you get back to school, the amount of conditioning that we do, I lose about 10 to 15 pounds.
Do you really?
I lose
Wow.
about 10 to 15 pounds, and my playing weight, I want to be around 250. Right now I'm at 260. So during the summer, I really focus on gaining a lot of weight so that when I shed it all off during conditioning, I'm still, at 250, 255 area.
Now you're 20 years old, one of the greatest that ever come out of West Ranch, one of the greatest ever on Sacramento Valley. What is your challenges at 20 years old? Do you have a chance to play maybe in Europe?
There's a possibility. Yeah, there's a
Do
possibility.
you have an agent?
No, you can't have an agent until you're done with your eligibility. Coach, you're looking at me like you want to be my agent.
I'd be your agent.
I'm open.
Well, you're
I'm
such a
open.
nice young man. You are. Do your parents ever listen to the show?
Yeah, my dad's actually listening right now.
Well,
he's listening.
Hey, Dad, you did a great job. Happy Father's Day. Same to you, Cameron Smyth.
Happy Father's Day, Dad.
And what a nice job your dad did. You're polite. You great handshake. You look people in the eye. You speak properly. You got manners. Nice job, Dad.
Thank you.
So, what's your major?
Major broadcasting. So it's they have a Becca department. It's broadcasting and electronic communications arts. And my
Are you on the radio up there?
I am. I'm
No
getting
kidding. What time?
my own radio show next year. Well, I'm not there now, but next semester I'll start in August, and I'll have my own radio show, and I'll be taking another class, radio production, a bunch of different classes. It's a great program, very well known in the Bay Area. Lots
So
of
maybe
grads.
one.
He should have us
Yeah.
as guests.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
you
think,
can call in.
we're big
Yeah.
in San Francisco.
Yeah, we are. Well, I was on KNBR for a year.
Yeah, you could call in, Coach. I'll call you in.
Yeah. So maybe if you on a year, you'll be good on radio. You will be. You have a great voice. You'll be very good.
Thank you.
All right. So back to the question, Aaron, that you asked, because I think it's a great question. So you asked the mayor, would you allow your son to play football? I think there's a little something behind that.
No, there's none. I mean, look,
No agenda.
none. I have no agenda to have.
Oh.
Yeah, I have no stake in the game. But the mayor used football to get a scholarship to UC Davis, and I just want to know whether or not he would let his kids play football, given the publicity of the dangers of football.
Do you know the most dangerous sport? What do you think the most dangerous sport is?
Probably F1 driving.
Cheerleading.
Cheerleading?
Cheerleading. My granddaughter was a cheerleader, and she's got all kinds of injuries from cheerleading. But your question, and let's get the mayor's take on it, and then I want to banter back and forth. You would let your son play football. You were a great football player at Hart. Everything in life has risk and dangers, right?
No doubt. And I think I'm concerned honestly about the continual pulling back of amount of time that kids can practice, amount of training that they're getting. That I fear that is counterintuitive and could create more injuries. Kids need to learn how to tackle properly. I think that is the biggest concern that I have as you continue to reduce amount of hours that kids can practice. I'm not saying going back to to our days of the hell weeks and the 2-a-days but my friends and I we still laugh about that, and those were some of the best days that we ever had. And I think the advancements in equipment are such that if kids are taught proper techniques, I don't see any greater risk than in football than you see in other sports. I mean, everyone's concerned about concussions in soccer, and they're talking about not allowing kids to head the ball until a certain age, and and I'm okay with that at some degree, but you can't just put everybody in a bubble and hope that we're not going to get hurt and you're not going to experience risk or experience any life. And I fear that we're raising a culture of kids being afraid of everything and not being willing to go out and challenge themselves and take those risks. I mean, I have, I'm sure I had a couple concussions. I had dislocations.
You think you had a couple of concussions?
That's what they tell me. And when the world's going sideways and you can't walk off the field,
you went into politics. You must have had severe concussions.
That's right. I have no short-term memory anymore.
So I like everything you said, but I like the fact that playing in a team, no matter whether it's soccer, baseball, football, there's so much value. You learn how to get along with others. I think everybody respects you, Mayor. Everybody likes you. And that had to come from dealing with so many different partners on your football team and all your other sports. One of the things that people think, how do I want to say this? Not everybody on your team is your buddy. I mean, you have to work hard. Am I right on this, Ryne?
Yeah, no, definitely.
I mean, you have to work hard to create an environment where you can get along, right?
And a lot of that is getting the right people. I know we talk about this at my school for recruiting with my coach. A lot of it is recruiting players who have good character. And if you get those guys who have good character, they're going to mesh well no matter what. And that's kind of what's happened with us at
but
SF
I like
State.
what Mayor Cameron Smyth said, and that is, in sports, you learn how to work hard. You learn discipline. You learn accountability. And I'm concerned that time is being cut short. And where are these kids going, Mayor? And I'm a lot older than you. When I played, we didn't have water breaks. We used to suck the water out of the sprinkler heads. So it's a balance. I get it. The younger generation, your generation, Aaron, wants more happiness, more Menzies yogurt, right?
Menzies?
Menzies yogurt.
The Neymar?
I saw Niedermeyer, and
he wants Menzies yogurt.
Yeah.
I'll learn, as I get to know the mayor, I'll learn a little bit more about soccer, trust me. So tomorrow on my show, a fabulous show, tomorrow at 1 o'clock, I've got a guy coming on. You can listen at 1 o'clock. He says, the author says, Josh, I forget his last name right now, says that you learn through failing, that you have to fail first. Don't worry about winning. Just go out there and experience failing. And that we'll talk about it when you get on the air with me next week. So that's on my show tomorrow. If you want to learn about how to win, you better learn how to fail. Don't be a little crybaby, right?
No participation
You're looking
trophies?
at me, Coach.
I don't think you're allowed to say crybaby anymore. I'm not sure. I think
Coach has sunglasses on, but he's definitely
when
staring at
you're
me.
going to be on my show next Tuesday. We're going to talk about this political correctness. This got it because you're a real guy. It's got to drive you. I shouldn't have said that, right? I shouldn't have said you're a real guy. Now somebody's going to call and say, "Well, what did the coach mean when he said he's a real guy?" But the
They're
point,
going to call me now and say, "What did he mean by you're a real guy?"
Yeah.
So now you're putting more emails. I hear my phone going off
right now.
as it is.
So political correctness is out of whack. All right. Thank you, Mayor Cameron
Thank you.
Smyth.
This was great.
I wish I had something
Yeah.
to complain about. I love the city of Santa Clarita. All the city council does a great job. Ryne
Yes.
Williams.
No,
Thank you,
it's
pal.
Ryan.
No, it's Ryan Williams.
Mayor, thanks
San
for coming on.
Francisco
You got it, man.
State.
Thank you.
See you tomorrow at 1 o'clock on my show called The Business Life. Thank you, everybody.